Is anything you'd like to come from the attorney's office?
I do have one short item. We have a fairly small code enforcement lawsuit pending, basically against a structure that's in violation of the minimum housing code. During the course of this, it's what we call heirs property. There are a million different heirs, but we determined halfway through the lawsuit that two of the heirs, one was actually a minor and one had been declared incompetent. And when you find that out, you have to have a guardian ad litem appointed. You have to go through a lot of processes. Well, I've been working with the guardian ad litem because of the status of these two heirs. None of the rest of the heirs have actually answered, so we'll be able to get a default judgment against them. But the guardian ad litem has requested, in the case of these two particular defendants' heirs, that we would agree under the statute, if we do end up demolishing the house, we can either collect it, we get a lien on the property that we actually demolish, and technically we get a lien against any other real property owned by the defendants, and the guardian ad litem has no problem with us getting the lien against the property that we may end up demolishing, but it's just asked that the city agree that we will release the lien that we would otherwise get against any other property that these two particular defendants own. And he assures me they don't own any property and are never likely to own any property because of their condition, but
Okay.
so I would need your approval to do that.
We need a motion on that.
I don't have a problem with that. I'll make the motion to approve
Is there a
that.
second?
Second here.
Any discussion on that?
And it's just for those two
Just for
defendants.
those
Just those two.
defendants.
Okay,
What-
and a lien could still go on the real property, like the city
we
could take
demolished, yes.
the actual land if necessary.
Yes, the property we demolished.
I'm fine with that.
Yes, ma'am.
What age are these?
The-
Are they?
Honestly, the minor is 16, but she is also autistic, and
Okay.
so you cannot have a minor declared incompetent. So right now she's a minor, and when she becomes an adult, she will probably be declared incompetent. I'm not sure how old they're brother and sister, and so.
Okay.
That's
Any other?
I just, I wanted to clarify.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, please? Okay. Thank you. Unanimous opposed. Anything else?
No.
City manager's report.
I have something to pass out here that I actually just received at 5:13 today. So I'll pass that out. While I'm doing that, also wanted to report to the city council that last week I attended a meeting in Raleigh with Richard Rankin and Greg Henberg from ArtSpace. We met with Bob Kukab, who is the director of the State Housing Finance Agency, and we talked about funding for the ArtSpace project. One of the things that we did discuss is that the location has not been finally fixed, but we talked about the project. The state was very supportive and interested in it, but they also told us how very competitive things are and that everybody has to get a perfect score. They said that the system is so established that everybody gets a perfect site. And so then the only thing that's different is the financing and management, and that gets to be the decision making. There are 3 or 4 times as many projects as that qualify and actually qualify with very good ratings that are submitted versus those that get funded. But it was a good meeting. It was again, represented the city. The community foundation was Richard Rankin, and then Mr. Hamburg flew down from Minneapolis. So they're working that process. We did discuss a little bit about the arts requirement, the artist requirement. They don't have a specific requirement in North Carolina, not likely to ever do a specific thing that says artists. They have done something similar in Asheville, not with ArtSpace, but where they set it up with art studios, and that ended up being populated by artists. So what they do is, in the design of it, if it is done that way, then the regulations allow for them to be able to be non-discriminatory, but yet targeting a certain group of folks. So there'll be a full report, and we're going to have to get back into the site selection at a later meeting, but I just did want to report to you that we had that meeting. And also next week, I have an interesting meeting. I think Matt Bernhardt and Rusty and Ed Cross and Flip and I are going up to, we've been invited to go see the coal ash at River Bend. Duke wants us to see it, wants to be able to talk to us about what they're doing to safeguard that particular location. Of course, you know, that's our water source, and it's Charlotte's water source. So we are going to go up there and we'll give you a full report of that. But again, they have told us and talked to us about using that coal ash at the airport. Seems like a good idea. It's a way to get that away from the lake. I think the longer it sits up there at the lake, you have the potential, because not only did we have the problem at the Haw River, but now down near Wilmington. So, you know, it's better to remove it, we think. So we'll give you a full report on that. Now, what I passed out was something that Hank Graham sent me at 5:13 today. So we just received, maybe this is an April Fool's joke. And by the way, I did consider putting something on the agenda as an April Fool's, but I thought, you know, that might backfire. So maybe that.
I wasn't expecting this until May.
Yeah, this is the initial data, as you see, and approximately 1,300 highway projects, and potentially, you know, there could be errors found, and there might be a little bit adjustment, but I think we should turn that page and look at what they're saying. Is that that I-85 and 321 is the top project, and widening 85 to 321 comes in second. So now, you know, remember we said we didn't want them stopping at 321. Well, that's where they're going to do it anyway. They're going to send that, they're going to widen it and put it there, and we're also going to be doing that interchange, but that interchange can't possibly work if you widen it, so there's going to have to be a little conversation. Now, one is coming soon and one is coming later, but that's that first bullet point. The MPO projects appear to be the highest scoring project, prioritization project. The top 77 projects out of 339 in the statewide tier are MPO or urban projects. There are $27.8 billion worth of statewide tier project, almost 5 times the amount that's available. The number 4 is interesting. The capital area MPO has 6 of the top 10 statewide and division tier projects. And every time I go to Raleigh, every time I go to Cary, I see all those roads. And every time I talk to those people, they seem so interested in their own situation and so unfamiliar with what's going on in this part of the state. That's editorial, and I probably shouldn't say that, but it just does seem like, once again, Raleigh gets most of the projects there. Okay, the number 5 talks about Shelby. Garden Parkway is the number 175th project at the statewide tier, just below midpoint. So it means it probably will not get funded. So, you know, that a major significant change from what we've had before. Shelby Bypass probably not get funded either. The 4 phases are grouped together, what, number 110 to 113 at state tier, they're top 3rd, but the Shelby Bypass got a higher rating than the Garden Parkway. And so that's significant too. Then the last item, our MPO has 2 of the top 100 projects at the division tier, which is I-85 widening and US 321. And of course, this is the new system that is completely objective and there's no politics involved, and here we are. So there's a lot of information attached to this. I'll send the complete report to the city, to all of you, so you can open it up. I tried opening it up and it looked like it was going to take a long time to open up. And there may be, I think Councilman Kimball went to the MPO. Was this discussed, or?
Actually, I was going to kind of touch, I didn't know we were going to get these, so I had that on my, my council report list for this evening, and joined by Councilman Pearsall was there as well. I did ask, Representative Baumgartner was in attendance, and I did ask him regarding the widening, which we've all talked about, of I-85 north to Cox Road. And he had indicated that that would be a contained project or contained upgrade within the I-85 widening is how he foresaw that. So I think that's positive, positive news for us. Also, there was, at the last minute, there was a brief filed by the Southern Environmental Law Center. It was really right before the last hour of the cutoff, so no one really at the MPO had read all the documents yet, but they will be reading those to see what, if any, impact there is on the plan, and also what appropriate comment could be made. And I did get all those documents back to Dr. Curlin before he left. I dropped them off, so he's really has all the updates before he left town. I don't know, is there anything else? I think that was, that was the only other thing that they're gonna be looking at. I thought we had a presentation of the, what'd you call it, the staged on-ramps, where there's actually a metering of the on-ramps with a traffic signal. So there's a break in the traffic during peak hours, used in a lot of cities. We saw some videos in Kansas City, Denver, some other places. I think it could have a use. There's funding for a study in the Charlotte area on that. I don't recall how many. I think there's about 20 some, Todd. They were looking at 20 different ramps they were going to look at, and that's all I had for the MPO. Thank you.
Now, I'll say one thing about ramps like that are in Los Angeles and other places. Because they'll take you to a dead stop sometimes, because you have to wait until the next light, or you're just creeping, then you do need to have enough room to move. So some will work, some may need to be, you have to have enough room to actually get on the interstate, and we're not used to it here.
You're correct, Ed. I actually discussed that with the presenter, that a lot of the success of those metered on-ramps depends on how long your acceleration lane is. And typically what we saw in the demonstrations is they were purpose-built on-ramps with long acceleration lanes to accommodate that. I mean, I can think of some in our area that even when you're kind of rolling ahead, it's still a little bit of a chore to get out the traffic speed. Thinking about I-85 North at North New Hope is a real challenge there with a short ramp. So I did make that gentleman aware of that. That was a concern that we had in our area, and but it's going to be part of the study. But you're absolutely correct. Acceleration lanes we want. Thank you. Good.
The next thing I'm passing around is we need to establish two times to have budget meetings. And Councilman Kimball and Councilman Curlin both gave me a list of the dates that they would be out of town or not available. And I actually X'd those with just those two councilmen. I put X's on those dates. And so we also have city council meetings, 2 of them, and a holiday, which is Memorial Day. So
these X's are the ones that are eliminated?
Well, there's a conflict with either Councilman Curlin or Councilman Kimball. Now, so, and I know Councilman Pearsall told me that there's a whole week, at least.
12th through the 16th. I'll be in
12th through
DC.
15th. Well, as you can see now, our X's are dominating here.
Well, may I make a comment, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
That I think we ought to have these meetings in the daytime. Because everybody's fresh. You have a meeting, start talking about a budget at 5:30, 6 o'clock. People are tired, staff's tired. Yeah, I think we ought to have them in the morning. If you work, you just make arrangements to be here. Most
Well,
of
I
us can come.
appreciate that, but I do work, and so does Dr. Curlin.
Well, that's fine. But
I
you
know
just
you're
make
retired.
You just make arrangements to be here.
Um,
You can get off all
sir,
the time anyway.
That's not
Come
the
over here.
truth.
Well, anyway, I think that we ought to,
Okay.
that Sarah always talked about, we need to have the meetings during the day. That's my opinion. We can have a vote on that.
Okay, Ed, one thing that, well, while I had on there, you've added Well, you got the holiday and you got the city council, but, and I also think we ought to mark out the, May the 8th is the Electric Cities is gonna be right here
Oh, that's right. Yes.
at
Yep.
the conference center.
We have an X on 8 anyway, so we're
Yeah,
good.
well, there's X there for somebody, for
Yeah.
someone, yeah.
So that's.
Okay,
And we
any
need
other
to have-
comments or questions?
We need to schedule 2 in May.
Two. Councilman Kimball's, one conflict is on the 14th, is with a COG meeting, and that's, I'll let you.
Well, one of the issues that we wrestled with is the first one of the year was canceled because of the big snowstorm. So theoretically, this COG meeting, and Councilman Gallagher is the alternate to me at the COG meetings. That's really beginning of the year to May. That's somewhat of an onerous meeting. Did not want to miss that, but I did speak with Ed, and if in fact that worked for everybody else in the evening, I'm sure that we could send someone from the city to attend that meeting, although they would not be voting there.
What about the 13th?
Let me just,
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
you know, we just need, any of these dates work for me, fine. But going back to what Councilman McIntyre was talking about, refresh my memory. Did we used to have council meetings and budget meetings during the day years ago?
Yes,
Yes.
Do I remember that
I
right?
remember.
Okay.
right here.
And, yeah,
Right,
and
yeah.
was there a particular reason why we changed it to tonight?
As I recall, when we moved the council meetings we did for the public and also for some of the working members of the council.
Well, I know that we started doing some so that more citizens could come and have input. But really, we don't get citizens at the night meetings that I've been in, okay?
We have Board of Adjustment meetings during the day. We have Planning Commission meetings at night. Each board, we discuss these things, whatever works best for the board at the time.
I understand everybody's working situation, and you have to go to work. But could we maybe do one in May that was during the day and the other one in the evening, and would give you plenty of time to get a vacation day or a sick day or a personal day or whatever that is, and just try it and see how it works and go from there? Is that an option?
Yep.
Whatever I want.
In the,
'Cause I agree with you.
But in the 70s, all the council meetings were in the morning.
That's right.
Right.
And I remember, I know that you're fresher in the morning.
Sure.
I agree with that. A lot of times, especially the ones of us that do work, you come at 5:30 and you're just dragging sometimes, and you're not as sharp as you need to be. And personally, I think the budget is one of the most important things that we do. So I would offer maybe a suggestion of having one during the day and one in the evening, if that would work.
Brenda, I know for myself, I wouldn't be able to make the daytime.
Well, then I think that just has to be a choice. I don't.
Right.
I don't, I think it's a choice for all of us, what we can attend and what we can't attend.
Well, it looks like, looking at the calendar, that the 13th and maybe 21st, which is after a council meeting, 13th's not. 13th just sort of jumps out at me as being one of those, Brenda,
Yeah.
without X's. I don't come up here on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, so that rules that out.
Right.
And, for me. But the 21st and the 13th, I'm just throwing that out to get us
Okay.
off dead center.
Fine.
There are no X's there.
Fine. I'm good those days.
Are you okay?
21st works for me, but I will be out of town on the 13th. The 12th through the 17th is when I'm in DC.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
if you
you're-
guys need to meet those dates, and everybody else
We
can
hadn't
do
put
it.
down Councilman Pearsall's X's yet.
Yeah. I
He has-
I was gonna say, if
earned
that's
your
the only
X's.
day that everybody else can meet, please don't do it on my account, but.
Golly.
21st, would that be the daytime meeting?
Well, there's the 16th. Will you be back on the 16th?
I won't be back
That's
till the
Friday.
17th. I fly in on the 17th.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll be gone that entire week. So that's why I say if one of those days is the only time everybody else can do it, then have that meeting then, because I can pick up on the second meeting
I can make it after 5 o'clock,
on the 13th.
21st.
Oh, on the 21st.
anyone got a motion, got an idea?
Yeah, but
Go
leave
ahead.
the 21st during the daytime.
When's the other one, would you say?
We hadn't decided that one.
All right.
We'll have to come back with
The
Now, you do
21st
realize
is a
Dave
Wednesday.
and myself won't be there.
it. Well, know,
So you
take a
have two-
vacation day.
Well, that's great, Mr. McAteer, I appreciate that, but having it after 5 o'clock, how it's been going for the past 2 years, has been fine for everyone. I'm sorry it hasn't been for you.
Okay, I've got a motion out there to meet the daytime on the 21st.
I can do the 21st. That's,
What time?
What-
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say a time.
What time does it suit y'all? 8:30 in the morning? 9, begin at 9?
Will it be just, will it be a 4-hour thing? Will it be
Yeah,
a half a
is that-
day?
I would think
As
so.
long as we want it
Yeah.
to be, huh?
No, I think that you start to wear down after a while.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think probably a half day would be, kind of like one of our
9 to
evening
12.
meetings.
Something like
Well, I would second that motion from 9 to 12,
Okay, 9 to 12 it is?
that. On the 21st,
on the 21st.
9 to 12 upstairs?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. And that's
We have to vote
budget
on it.
meeting. All right.
Okay.
That's on the 21st of May, which is
Yep.
a Wednesday,
Yep.
from 9 until 12.
That's fine.
Okay. Of course, as we all do, take into consideration the staff too, and the people that have jobs to do. All right, what's the other one? You want to vote on that one?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor of that one, raise your hand. Okay, opposed? Okay, got it, Jenny? That's the 21st, and
The only other days left is the 16th. Unless we do something when Councilman Pearsall's not here. Hmm? No, he's not.
What's the day you gonna be here, Tom?
The 17th?
besides the week I'm gonna be gone, it looks like between Councilman Curlin and Kimball, everything else is Xed out. Between Councilman Curlin and Kimball, we've got the partial first week, the second week,
What if Kimball, you don't go to
the whole
Cog.
last week.
what date's the COG on?
Oh, the 14th, I said I'd be, if we had representation from the city, I'd be happy to do that. Or the 13th, either day, if it's.
see, anywhere that whole week, Todd's says he's gonna be in Washington, so we might as well just go ahead and go for
Do it whatever works for everybody else.
What, the 14th then?
14th?
14th.
That's the day after the city
Okay.
council meeting?
No,
No.
no, it's in between the two.
Yeah,
No,
14th's on Wednesday,
it's fine with me.
that'd be fine. We got that Wednesday, then the next one.
what time you want?
That's fine.
We'll have 5:30, where we'll have some food and start by 6.
Okay.
All right,
And
is that a motion? Someone?
Yeah,
I'll move.
I'll make one.
Second? Discussion?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? All right, we have those
uh,
2 straight Wednesdays there, 5:30 on the 14th of May and upstairs, and the 21st, 9 to 12 upstairs.
Mr. Mayor, because we know at least Councilman Pearsall and Councilman Gallagher may well miss one of those, and it's possible even Councilman Curley. The staff will set up a time during the day, sometime, day, night, whatever,
Yeah.
where we can brief you, get up to date, so that the meeting that you missed, we can get all of your input or share with you what we've done, so that we'll figure, perhaps I'll talk to both of you, and we'll figure out what works best for you, so that we can keep the information for you.
I could even do a webinar if possible, or even call in.
That's possible. We've done that, actually, we've done that before.
What'd you say? I'm sorry. Call in? Yeah, we've had that.
Yeah,
Particularly if there's not much.
yeah.
Particularly if this is not a time when you would take a vote or take any formal action, it's more of a workshop.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, do that as well, yes.
I may be able to call in that evening,
Okay.
too. I
Yeah.
just have to see what my schedule is in Washington.
Okay.
Down on the other end of the world. Yes, sir.
And Ed, I would request someone from the staff speak with Jim Prosser of COG or his designee to get an idea what the issues are going to be coming up. I expect that to be a lengthy meeting, so it would probably be good if we could have our person up to speed on that before they walk in.
Okay, absolutely, thank you.
That it?
14th.
Yes, sir.
That's, okay. All right, let's quickly go to city council reports. Ms. Craig?
I have no report, but I would like to wish someone a happy birthday, April the 6th. One of our colleagues up here.
Thought I was gonna get away with it.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Happy birthday ahead of time.
Thank
And that's my report.
Yeah.
I thought I might
Porter?
slide since it was on the off week this time.
Birthday man? Boy?
Birthday boy. I like boy. Just two quick things. One, I don't know why I thought about it a minute ago, but Ed, if we could get I know Brenda would like to hear this too, a report on the progress of the NET program for Scruggs. You know, I travel that road every day, and other than the trees getting trimmed back, I haven't seen much of anything going on. I mean, I know the police are over there too. That's kind of the unseen. That's the kind of what goes on behind the scenes. But as far as some of the other projects that were presented at that community watch meeting, I'm not seeing any of that. And I know some of that was because of the cold weather, but that's kind of why I'd like an update to see what has been put off on purpose and what just hasn't been done yet, and see if we can get that done. And then the second thing is the Gaston Association of Realtors is having their Housing Expo this Saturday at the Conference Center. I invite everyone to attend that. If you're gonna buy a house, refinance a house, need your house fixed, need your yard fixed, anything you need with a house, it's happening at the Conference Center, and that's from the hours of 10 to 4.
Great.
And you can register to win a big green egg. A big one. $1,000 value. No, it's a grill, the big green egg, the grill.
Yeah, that's the, green egg, yeah.
$1,000 grill. So you can register to win it. So come on by and see us.
When you said anything you need, y'all help with payments?
Accept the payment.
Oh.
So, now, there's a couple realtors that could probably afford that, but I'm not one of them. Sorry.
Is that it?
That is it. Thank you, Mayor.
Big egg, yes. Jim?
I just have one thing, Your Honor. I would like to request in-kind services. I have schools such as on May 10th, Hunter Huss and Forest View. Rachel, if you want to hand out that stuff, you can. Rachel and I have been working on this for a while, and we reserved time at the pavilion. And what it is Hunter Huss is going to come down to the pavilion area, and they're going to do some skits and some dancing and some performing for their dramatic arts. The kids are going to be there from 2 to 5. And then Forest View is going to do their a play at the pavilion starting from about 7:30 to about 10. And it's going to be The Taming of the Shrew, which is Shakespeare. But however, it's going to be, the adaptation is going to be in Southern vernacular. It's not going to be in Elizabethan English. So Taming of the Shrew is a real comedy, and it's a real fun piece. And they just performed it just recently last week at the school. I think you'll really enjoy it. That's for the 10th, which is a Saturday. And then what we're trying to do is try to get Ashbrook and Hunter Huss, not Hunter Huss, but Highland, they're going to do a play on the 23rd. They're only going to do parts of their skits. Ashbrook's doing Cinderella, and Highland, I'm not sure the name of the play that they're doing, but they're only gonna do parts of their skits, and it's gonna go from about 7:30 there to about 10:30. And that's gonna be on a Friday night, which is May 23rd. The cost for lighting and all is, let me see, Rachel, we're really just using the lighting, which is what, $500 a night, right?
Are you not gonna need sound?
The sound, we've got it donated, that part. The sound was being donated, and
Who's donating sound?
one of the churches, Flint Grove, as a matter of fact. And, let's see.
Is there not insurance?
If it's a city-sponsored event, it will fall under.
Okay, so this is a city-sponsored event.
That's,
Right, that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to only have it 2 nights. We're thinking 3 nights, but we're gonna try to move Ashbrook over to the 23rd. I don't think that's gonna be much of a problem for them to do that. I've been in touch with all the teachers, and they're pretty excited about it.
What brought this on, Jim?
Just to create some interest downtown, just to bring some students to really show what the schools can do in terms of doing dramatic arts. And it's pretty much, I'm not going to have the city pay any of these fees. I was willing to put up like $2,000 myself and get that donated. Part of it was $500 for the Porta-Johns, and that's for 2 evenings, which is $1,000, and $500 that we spoke about with the lighting, which is another $1,000, so it was coming out to $2,000. So I'm not sure about
that's the out-of-pocket cost.
so the total here,
I've broken it down into out-of-pocket costs, which would be actual cash cost. The waived fees and rentals, if it becomes a city-sponsored event, then you all, and Ed, you would need to vote to,
Like the tree lighting, the city-sponsored event, we don't charge KGB for the tree lighting, yeah. So if it's a city-sponsored event, we waive fees. But
Right.
so you
It's
can
up,
waive-
it's up to us as a city.
But now, isn't KGB a department of the city?
Sure,
Okay,
But, I
okay.
mean-
So it is a city department?
yes, any,
Okay,
correct.
okay, okay.
so,
It would-
so the total out-of-pocket expense is, you're saying from $2,400 to $2,850?
And that's based, the only variable there is the lighting. If you decide to go
Right.
with a smaller lighting system,
Mhm.
then that's what's on the $300 end. The larger system is $450, so that's why you've got a range there. Everything else is pretty standard cost. Porta-John's gonna run you about $500. But the waived fees and rental is a combination of the pavilion rental and the permit fees that you see listed above.
I see.
And that is a total cost for 4 performances, so.
Yes.
Going back to this, Rachel, but we're looking at, if I'm reading this right, 4,000 in in-kind services, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have we got,
And that's an estimate that
No, I
Mr. Wood,
understand.
that Mr. Wood provided.
Thank you.
I just, go ahead.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to get back to, okay. To do something like this, don't we have the guidelines that it goes into, get, and there's a guideline or a time frame,
90 days.
90 days? Oh.
We've been talking about it
My
for,
math is not right.
no, we've been talking about it for a while. I just haven't brought it up in this
But
light.
don't we all have to follow those same guidelines or not?
The guidelines were set up for groups that come to the city.
Right.
City council, if the council wanted to propose something, you know, it's our facility. And, you know, from time to time, city council can propose things. We get to move around. I mean, we have our guidelines for other organizations. In this case, there is not another organization that really has brought this forward. I believe is councilman that has actually initiated it. So, you know, if any of the council or mayor initiate something, we just, you know, go with what that is. We don't apply those specific rules on the outside organizations to the city council here.
Well, I guess my only, to follow up with that, I understand what you're saying, but how do we pick and choose, or if we do this, okay, which it is probably a very good idea, and I could see why the teachers would be so excited about it. But if we do it for one group, and then another council person has a thought about it, and they bring something, how do we prioritize and say, okay, this fits the criteria and the guidelines? That's where my concern is if you do it for one, then you have to do it for everybody. So that's my question to the city manager. How do we discriminate?
Well, council can set up a set of rules for yourselves. For instance, to schedule things, or to say, for instance, let's, you know, establish what you feel are good ground rules for new ideas and about scheduling things, and agree with the city mayor and council about how you want to work that. And you can put whatever parameters you want on yourselves in terms of how many events you want to sponsor. Do you want to do sums in different seasons, and then, you know, as a group decide what the rules are, and if someone has a new idea, you as a city council decide how that new council person should bring that idea to you.
Or should that come before the facilities committee? To set up those guidelines, if that's what
Sure.
this group decides.
Yeah,
to do.
facilities and management, because you're really talking about managing your facilities, and of course that facility there is one of them. It's also it's also a Center City issue too.
Right.
But I think management facilities would be good.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't go to my committee, that would be
Yeah.
facilities, I would think. So we're not blocking off any roads or. Well, yeah, my question was kind of like
Walking
Brenda's, in that this sounds really nice. I mean, I don't have anything against the program itself, but it's just very sudden. And just at our last budget meeting, we were asking for a report on in-kind services, because this kind of thing was starting to get out of hand, where we were doing in-kind services for every group. And then
I think we
now-
want to see the cost, right?
Yeah, of total in-kind services, and then all of a sudden, this comes out, that's another $4,000 in in-kind services, and I haven't even, I mean, not that we should have seen the report yet, because they probably haven't had time to get it ready. But you know, we were just talking about how in-kind services were starting to get out of control, because every little group wanted in-kind services downtown, and now Brenda kind of made my point. When and where are we gonna stop what we do in-kind services for? Now we're saying we're gonna do it for a high school play. You know, any group that comes along, are we gonna do in-kind services for? And what kind of in-kind services do we need for a high school play? I mean, do we have to have police security there, or EMT? I mean, I don't know, I'm asking, because this is just kind of all very, very sudden.
In these three in-kind service areas, with police, anytime we have a big group, I mean, that's a special allocation. Sometimes you can, 5 officers, 4 hours, like, depending upon what the function is. Sometimes if it's a small little religious group, maybe there's really not as much of a need for police as some kind of a rock concert. Fire emergency and medical, that's $1,300. Sometimes we're able to just position one of our trucks there, but in case, of course, in case of a fire or something, then they have to go. Cleanup crews, if it's a group, sometimes that group has even done their own cleanup, and we can direct them to do it. So it is, and the scale of these things are all over the place too. You have Run for the Money. It's a huge thing, and it occurs at different times of the day. This is something completely different, and so you know, the problem is you do have to have a little flexibility as you see these, and it's purely up to, this is a discretionary thing, you know, like the water plant's not how much chemicals we put in the water plant, you know, it is what it is. This is completely discretionary. If you want to do things like this, you can do more of them or do less of them. There's a cost, there's, you know, but it also you bring an activity downtown, so it's purely discretionary.
Walt?
Yeah, I kind of read my mind on this, Todd. My concern was, number one, Councilman Gallagher, you indicated that there have been ongoing discussions of this, you indicated for a while. It's the first I heard of it, and it feels like, you know, we just kind of had this discussion like a week or so ago, and this was not brought up at all. I mean, I blindsided by this. I had no idea that we were even contemplating having plays at the Rotary Pavilion.
We have it there, so it should be utilized. It'll
No,
bring
I'm not talking
people
about
downtown.
utilization. I'm talking about a little bit of proactive communication between the council. I had no idea. If somebody would have came up to me and said, hey, how are we doing with that Rotary Pavilion, you know, event we're having there, we had no idea. No idea. I mean, there's a difference between utilization and communication. Don't get confused by that, okay? Communication should have been maybe at the last, when we were discussing in-kind services a week or so ago. Might have been a good time to bring this up, and to have at least a rudimentary layout of what your budgetary issues were. That's what I said.
Rachel and I were just getting the budgetary issues together after our budget meeting that we had upstairs.
So
It just took us a little
You didn't have any
time.
idea this was even gonna go on until she got that stuff? I don't buy it.
No, we knew that
Right,
we were going to.
exactly.
It was hammering it out, Walt, with the teachers to find out when they could come. It just took a lot of time.
Understand, but you could have.
dealing with
Jim,
the-
you
the
could
four
have went
different
ahead and said,
schools.
hey, I'm floating this idea out to the teachers, or there's been some interest on the part of Ashbrook and Hunter Huss. I had no idea.
Okay,
None.
well, I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve this. I will make sure that the city does not, you know, I can't do the in-kind services, the 4,000, but I'll make sure the out-of-pocket costs are covered.
Second to the motion? Please excuse me. Motion dies for lack of a second.
I will make sure the schools find out and understand that we've said no. Thank you.
No, Your Honor,
Yes, Kim?
we're not saying no, Councilman. What we're saying is that this was just at the 11th hour sprung upon us to make all these issues come forth. As Mayor Pro Tem said, we have to look at the issues and make sure we're being there's some air of consistency. And I don't think that's too much to ask. That's all I have, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to make a motion that we bring something to the Facility Management Subcommittee to look at guidelines and criteria for what council members, you know, need to be doing so that we don't get in this situation again, that we will have some clear guidelines to be able to move forward with something like this. Because I could see the benefit from this, okay? But here again, I think we're all kind of looking at these numbers just coming out of a budget meeting last week. So I would make a motion that we refer this to the Facility Management Committee meeting.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you.
And then that way, then we can get some of this cleared up before it comes to council.
Might want to make a comment if Councilman Gallagher can raise the $7,380, get some sponsors, you could go ahead and do it. You could raise the money yourself.
Well, I was just looking at the in-kind services for the 4,000.
Yeah, I don't-
That's the one I couldn't do, but for my own money, I'd put up to $3,000. But I understand the council doesn't want to do that. Thank you.
Any other? Okay. Mr. Kemp?
I'd like to say happy anniversary. My wife, 23 years tonight.
Happy
Her anniversary.
Bless her heart.
Happy anniversary, honey. Also, we have Chief, Mayor Pro Tem Craig and I attended your Kalia meeting, and how's that going? I won't put you on the spot, but you got some good vibes there.
Is that yours?
We had outside assessors come in as part of the CALEA process last week. They came in at noon Monday, left noon Thursday.
Thank you.
And thank you for attending the community meeting. Everything went very well. We had some issues that we needed to adjust with a little bit of policy issues, but nothing that we couldn't knock out last week while they were here. We had a good lasting interview at the end that basically they're going to recommend us for accreditation.
Great.
We just got to go before the commission.
Thank you,
That will
Chief.
be in July.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
And last thing I have, Cancer Services Faces of Hope is going to be at Stowe Botanical Garden on Friday. Thank you very much.
Okay, last night, mayor-manager meeting, Belmont catered it and was host to, Ed and I were there, and it was very productive, and Doug Luckett came from the hospital to talk a while. But it was a very good turnout, always a good meeting.
And Mayor, you know, it was interesting. They said nothing but good things about Gastonia and the way we were working with utilities. I thought
They sure did.
that, you know, I remember being at some meetings years ago where they weren't always happy with us.
And why should that be interesting instead of expected?
Saturday morning.
Appreciate it.
Saturday morning, they moved the senior games yearly, that the county has sponsored. It was to be at Sims, but with the weather, they went back over to Bradley Center. And I was over there. I was asked to come and welcome to.
Do you win anything?
No, I got out of there before they did, but I did tell them, run this just a tad about the names on the wall out there when you go in. T. Jefferson, Frederick, and Nancy, and somebody else. 77. Bought that land from Roland Brad. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Favor?
Second.
Thank everyone for coming. Still daylight.